have to figure out a math problem and then find a pair of shoes at the treehouse that matches the answer.
Without a doubt, the Duggars are one of the most peculiar reality TV families due to their out-of-the-mold dynamics and traditions. However, there's more to them than just having a lot of kids. Throughout the 7 years the show was on air, the family's controversial opinions gained them haters and followers in equal part. Despite the family's fame and scandals, there's still a lot of facts you probably don't know about 19 Kids and Counting. Let's discover them. If having a family requires too much time and dedication, it's impossible to imagine how hard it must be to raise 19 kids. Though it's not surprising that the Duggars lifestyle provokes many questions, people often wonder primarily how the family manages their finances. Knowing people's general interest about this topic, Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar were always open about it. They have affirmed their knowledge about family finances was acquired after attending a seminar given by the real estate agent Jim Simmons, who is widely known for giving financial advice along with biblical readings. A simple reminder how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either iPhone Max, iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Whether or not Simmons' teaching method is as effective for other people is yet to be seen, though it undeniably solved the Duggars' doubts about how to manage their money and led them to avoid getting into debt. As Jim Bob affirmed on the family's blog, they bought several properties with cash, which subsequently allowed them to establish a real estate business, which has been providing their income for decades. Following their debt-free philosophy, the Duggars built their 7,000 square foot house, although despite their strenuous efforts, the project, which started in the early 2000s, took longer than expected and wasn't finished until 2006. Its cost is still unknown. If you haven't watched 19 Kids and Counting even once, you have most likely wondered about why the family has so many children. On the contrary, if you're a casual viewer, you might have assumed the Duggars have never tried to use any contraceptive method due to their religious beliefs. What's the truth then? The assumption that Michelle and Jim Bob have always had a strong Christian faith is quite correct, though surprisingly enough, it didn't stop them from using the birth control pill during the first 4 years of their marriage. Unfortunately, Michelle suffered a miscarriage shortly after resuming taking contraceptives following the birth of their first child, which ultimately led to the Duggars to stop using the birth control pill altogether, as they were apparently told that this was the reason for the miscarriage. However, the Duggars' decision to not use contraceptives wasn't exclusively prompted for medical reasons, but also by religion. As Jim Bob affirmed on the family's blog, he and Michelle felt that their initial thoughts on children were negative and went against the Christian faith. However, although being heavily criticized for their thoughts on having kids, it's also important to note that regardless of the fact Michelle never resumed taking birth control, she suffered another miscarriage later in 2010. As widely known, the Duggars' customs and family traditions are not necessarily everyone's cup of tea. This is no different when it comes to the educational methods they use with their children. If you watched 19 Kids and Counting at least once, you might remember that Michelle Duggar always tried to talk calmly with her kids if they happened to break the tight rules of the household. Despite what was seen on screen though, some viewers of the show are sure that the family's methods of discipline go farther than just a sweet scolding about kindness. Why do people affirm this? In a 2012 interview, Michelle confirmed that she taught her children self-control through the quiet and still method, which consists of teaching kids to sit quietly and under supervision during various minutes and several times a day. However, Michelle's disciplinary technique was deemed as too similar to the blanket training, a polemic practice invented by Michael and Debbie Pearl, which has been criticized for apparently prompting child abuse through punishments such as spanking. Though those were merely assumptions, people can't be at fault for thinking the two disciplinary practices are almost the same, as even during Michelle's interview, it was noted that her method was similar to blanket training, but without the toy. It's a well-known fact that the Duggars don't allow their children to date. In fact, Jim Bob and Michelle need to approve the prospective boy or girlfriend before allowing the children to start an official courtship, which even then has strict rules. Usually, each couple has a chaperone, who is usually one of the younger kids, but at least 10 years old. The chaperone accompanies the couple during their dates, and it's up to themselves to determine if the couple is breaking the established rules set beforehand. This means that chaperones and couples create a list of rules together, though these can be changed depending on how the relationship progresses. What happens when there are no chaperones available? As Michelle Duggar has affirmed, when the couple's younger siblings can't supervise them, the couples ask friends and even their grandma to chaperone them. While these dating rules and arrangements are hard to understand for many people, the Duggars have taught these customs to all of their children. Jim Bob's career might have been brief, but it wasn't forgotten. Although it's unknown how long Jim Bob has been linked to the Republican Party, it wasn't until 1999 that he became a member of the Arkansas House of Representatives. Then, in 2002, he decided to run for the U.S. Senate, though he was defeated during the Republican nomination by Tim Hutchinson, who surpassed Jim Bob by over 50,000 votes. Later in 2006, Duggar tried for public office once again, running for a seat in the Arkansas State Senate, but luck wasn't on Duggar's side again, as he was defeated by Bill Pritchard. Despite his political failures, Jim Bob's campaign was marked by his advocacy on severely punishing sexual offenders and incestuous relationships. His strong opinions about these topics were criticized when, in 2015, it was revealed that his son Josh had sexually molested several local girls and some of his sisters in 2003. Neither Jim Bob nor Michelle reported their son to authorities when the unfortunate events happened, deciding instead to send him to a Christian counseling program. Even if Jim Bob Duggar desisted from trying to obtain a seat in public office years ago, his son Jed has the same intentions of becoming somewhat prominent as a politician. During his campaign to become a member of the Arkansas House of Representatives in 2020, Jed described himself as a conservative and advocated for lowering taxes. In the end, he was defeated in the election by Megan Godfrey, who won by a small margin of votes. Jed's defeat was marked by problems related to the source of his campaign funds. Following a report by The Sun, in August 2020, a Louisiana man named Ross Little initially donated $2,800 to Jed's campaign. Then, in September, the same person sent $5,600, surpassing by far the limit of $2,400 established by the Arkansas state for particular donors. While the violation of this limit won't require Jed to go to jail, he must pay a fine of $3,500, though it's known his campaign was also funded by some of his siblings. It's uncertain if the rest of the Duggar family helped Jed to pay the fine. 19 and Counting was aired for the first time in 2008, though the show's name was initially different, as the younger daughters of Jordan and Josie weren't born at the time of its premiere. What most people don't know is that years before the show aired, Michelle, Jim Bob, and the children had already appeared in a documentary series entitled 14 Children and Pregnant Again, produced by Discovery Health Channel. The success of the series was so huge that it led to the network to produce other documentaries, such as 16 Kids and Moving In, and Raising 16 Children. Even if the Duggar success was surprising, more shocking was the way the family was discovered by the media. It actually happened in 2002 during Jim Bob's campaign for the US Senate, when a journalist took a picture of them, and it was published in the New York Times shortly afterwards. The picture took the attention of a magazine writer who interviewed the Duggars and sold the article to Parents Magazine. Thanks to this interview, the family was contacted by Discovery, starting what would be a long career as reality TV stars. While the Duggars have been open about the way their real estate investments allowed them to raise 19 kids, it's known that they don't talk too much about the money they received from appearing in 19 and Counting and other shows. Of course, it's understandable that they don't publicly reveal what they do with their money, but declarations made by Michelle and Jim Bob's son-in-law, Derek Dillard, have raised eyebrows at the family regarding the subject. What is it about? Everything started when, in 2017, Derek and his wife Jill left the 19 Kids and Counting's spin-off series Counting On. At the time, Derek expressed his annoyance at TLC for not financially supporting them during the birth of their second child, though apparently there's more to it than that. More recently, Derek has accused Jim Bob Duggar of hoarding the money derived from Counting On, which is a serious accusation, especially considering neither Michelle nor Bob appear in said show. Besides that, Derek also accused Jim Bob of over-controlling his children, allegedly not allowing them to control their now adult life. While Derek's words are yet to be proven, it's unknown if the Duggar patriarch would have legal problems if this turns out to be true. When in 2015, allegations of Josh Duggar's sexual abuse were disclosed to the general public, it resulted in a huge scandal for his family and the subsequent cancellation of 19 and Counting. However, Josh added other things to his list of controversies later on. Only a few months after his sexual abuse records were revealed, several web portals reported records of payments made by Josh through the website Ashley Madison, which is known for promoting adultery. In a statement released later by the Duggars, Josh admitted that he had been unfaithful to his wife Anna. "I have been the biggest hypocrite ever," he said, also acknowledging his addiction to pornography. This wasn't the end of his scandals though. In 2017, a man from Los Angeles named Matthew McCarthy sued Josh for stealing his photos to create fake accounts on websites such as Twitter and OkCupid, which apparently were used by Josh during his aforementioned cheating escapades. Matthew alleged that Josh's usage of his photos had a negative emotional effect on him, in addition to losing several jobs, as employers didn't want to be associated with him due to Josh's sexual scandal. Matthew's efforts were futile though. The case was ultimately dismissed for being filed in California instead of Arkansas, where Josh resides. So, do any of these revelations affect you to perhaps watching more or less repeats? An interesting conundrum. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.